everyone. I'm Ashley Chesley, the host of Food for Life. I know last week I skipped over a few things because we were having technical difficulties. I can tell you we tested everything, we fixed everything. We do not have technical difficulties this week. Our guest this week is Lindsay Iadeluca. She works for the American Heart Association of Southern New England. I am so excited to have her. We have a bit of a role reversal going on. Lindsay used to be a reporter for one of the stations I do segments for, and Lindsay interviewed me all the time. So I'm so happy she'll be here. And we will bring her in just a minute. Stay tuned. Hi, and we're back with Lindsay Iadeluca. How are you today, Lindsay?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I was attempting to find something red, and as I'm sitting here, I realize I'm like blending into my wall.
Oh, it's totally fine. I can still see you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sitting here and we're about to go live, and I realize like this sweater kind of blends in with my wall paint.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. So you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ashley already kind of told you guys my name is Lindsay Iadeluca. I currently am with the American Heart Association of Southern New England. I am their development director for our Heart Ball, which I'll talk a little bit about later. I was a broadcast journalist for about 10 years. So Ashley and I were kind of joking about how it's role reversal this time because I used to have a lifestyle show and she was my guest very often. So here we are. So this is kind of my comfort zone. I love to talk to people, love to raise awareness, and I always say I'm trying to save the world. So that's how Ashley and I got connected.
Well, let's speak about trying to save the world, because today is World Heart Day. So, of course, today is the perfect day to have you on. Do you want to maybe tell us a little more about World Heart Day and what it means?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what it means to me, of course, just beginning to be part of the American Heart Association. I was really excited today, and I was really honored that it felt different. I was like, oh, okay, look, I'm really part of the cause this year. Like, I really, really love that. And, you know, I've always been an advocate for the Heart Association, but to actually be part of the team, it feels different. We had our first VIP kickoff event for our Heart Ball on Friday.
Oh, nice.
And it was a success. It was wonderful. I got to meet a lot of our board members, and I got to meet a lot of our sponsors, and I have an amazing team that I'm working with. So just to see all of that kind of come to fruition Friday, and then, you know, a few days later at being World Heart Day, I was kind of like, yeah, like we're doing this, you know?
You are pumped for today.
Yeah, super exciting.
I actually went on to the World Heart Day website and what talks about it. And you can actually do, for those of you that are looking at this, I'm going to just put it in like one screen. Let's see if I can do that. Or I can't. Okay. You can put it in so that you can see. But the thing is you can go in and make social media banners, and that's what that is up in the corner.
Oh,
I added my own photo, and you can put it on your Facebook, your Instagram. It had Twitter, LinkedIn, and one other one that I think I don't even know because I'm getting old. And you can go and put these up. So please spread the word about the Heart Association and all their good deeds. Which, speaking of, I love your mission. It's to be a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives.
Yes.
And who better to do that but you? You've always been an advocate for healthy food, mental health. So what does that mean to you? So what does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to be part of that mission?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because that was really my selling point when I was interviewing and I was talking to everybody from the American Heart Association. And it's really where my fire is. We all know that I'm super passionate about mental health and just making the best out of your life, which of course includes taking care of your body, being healthy. But I always say my favorite quote is there's no physical health without mental health. And, the American Heart Association, some things just, of course, you've heard about stroke, heart disease. We focus on trying to, of course, make sure everybody is taking note of their blood pressure and trying to, fight against, tobacco and vaping. And it's all incorporated together. And those things are so important to staying healthy. But if you're not keeping yourself mentally healthy, it's almost as if all of that goes out the window in a sense, because if you're mentally not in the space that you're in and you're in the present, then all of that stuff you're going to miss. And you're almost just like,
I can definitely tell you that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No. I was just going to say, you're just kind of going with the motions. You're not.
Yeah, really I can definitely tell you that when you're having a bad day or things, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had like a super stressful situation or you're having a bad day and you feel that rush of panic everyone feels for like, oh my gosh, I got to get this done. It's time. Oh my God. You can feel almost your heart rate rising and you can feel like your blood pressure rising, and you need to take that breath. You need to relax yourself, center yourself.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And that's why if anybody's kind of familiar with meditation and yoga, they really talk about, coming into your breath and being present. And that's so important. And you bring up blood pressure, something that I mentioned before. Someone in my family recently has been kind of struggling with their mental health, and they had to kind of go somewhere and take care of some things because they were so stressed out that their blood pressure was through the roof. And that's what I think of when I think of, the direct correlation between mental health and physical health: stress, anxiety. And you think about it, depression, people think, oh, you stay in bed, you don't want to get out of bed. How can that cause high blood pressure? Well, a lot of the times depression and anxiety are together. Anxiety causes high blood pressure and stress. And it's just so intertwined that people don't necessarily talk about all the time. And I think that's one thing that I'm almost thankful that the pandemic has brought out. A lot of people are kind of looking more toward mental health. And as somebody that's in graduate school to become a mental health counselor, I'm happy to see that people are kind of taking ownership now of taking more ownership of their lives and their mental health, be it, physical and mentally. I think that's so important that we've always been on a gerbil wheel for so long.
I think it's a part of our health that we ignore a lot.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you know this, but my grandfather died of a heart attack and stroke. And then about a year later, so did my dad. He died of a heart attack. That was very sudden. He had a few symptoms a few days leading up to it, but it was nothing that was showing like anything major. And then, but the thing about it is my dad kept pushing off something that I think is very important, and that I find men especially push off their physical for the year. My dad was always so busy, he just didn't do it, and it had been many years. He also had some other lifestyle issues that just weren't conducive to that, like a high stress job and spending long hours in the car and not eating right and things like that. But
no, of course,
something is very important.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't know that, but that is a great example, and kind of on the other side, women, the Heart Association, we talk about women are focusing on their children, they're focusing on their significant others, they're focusing on so many other people and making sure that they are doing the healthy things and what they need to do, that sometimes they end up putting themselves on the back burner and they're not, doing their physical or checking their blood pressure. So kind of in the same ballpark, they're either putting everybody before yourself or just putting everything before yourself. You have to be an advocate for your own health.
So we've talked about what your new role is, but what does your role entail? Because you said that you're the development director for the Heart Ball and you just had an event for it, but it's not the event. So do you have other events going out through the year?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year we're doing it a little bit differently. We are cultivating several different events during the year, up until our big Heart Ball, which is almost our elite gala, if you will. It's a very beautiful, very exciting, and that will be next September. But we're planning on having more VIP style events like we had on Friday leading up to that. I think the idea behind it is to keep that positive energy going and to get people excited leading up to this. That was our first, I say our, obviously I'm very new, but that was the first in-person event that we had in Southern New England in quite some time because of COVID. So that's why we called it our VIP kickoff. It's, we're getting back into it. And I think everybody kind of relates in some sense getting back into everything because it's been a long 18 months.
I know. I attended one or two in-person things, and it's that minute of, this is great, but wait, am I supposed to be here? This is supposed to be fun. This used to be fun, right?
Exactly. Do you remember the first time that you walked into a place and you didn't have a mask on? I was like, wait, I didn't feel right.
That's actually not an option for me with my MS. So with my immune system, I don't really get that option.
Yes.
At one point, unless I'm outdoors, it's really not. So I never really get that option. But I hope all of you felt that way.
I was going to say, you know what, though? Now with other things popping up, you're probably better off.
Yeah. So for me, the mask wearing never went away. So it wasn't a big deal when everyone has to go back to it. But at least now I can just buy ones that match my outfits. And
I love that.
I'm sure the American Heart Association, I'm sure we can get some that have the nice logos on them somewhere.
For sure. Absolutely.
So, you're talking about how there's more events, which usually means that there are gift bags and sponsors, and you need volunteers. Can you tell me maybe where you can go to help volunteer, or how can people sign up to volunteer?
Absolutely. We are always looking for volunteers. And, I was listening to one of the people on my team and kind of put it in perspective for me and saying that, we love to just have conversations with everybody. I mean, I like to talk a lot, but like that with anybody. But there is a spot for you. And I love being able to have a conversation with somebody and kind of then getting to know them and being like, you know what, like this would be the perfect spot. This would be the perfect volunteer opportunity or sponsorship opportunity, depending on what you're passionate about. You know what I mean? Or are you a big corporation? Are you a small business? Do you want to do a collaboration with some type of sales item? There are so many different ways that you can get involved. And I please encourage everybody, you can reach out to me on any social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or you can email me at lindsay.iadeluca@heart.org. And I can guarantee you that we can find a spot, whether you're looking to sponsor, whether you are looking to volunteer at one of our events. We need it all.
What kind of sponsors and things did you have at your last event so that people can maybe get a better understanding?
Yeah, of course. So there's so many different levels of sponsorship. We actually have a whole entire kind of grid that we will sit down and talk to you about, whatever best fits your business. But really, everything is about the mission. We want to work with companies who are also passionate about healthy lifestyle and really dedicated to the well-being, both physically and mentally, of their employees. There's so much that we can do in a sponsorship. There's something that we have, community conversations, that I was just talking to my boss about actually. And we're hoping that we can work with this company to hold these community conversations and educate people on how important it is, to have that work-life balance, that, to really focus on your mental health, especially everybody who's coming back into the workforce. A lot of people are just started going back into the office, and it's such a big adjustment for them. So it's something we have to have a conversation about. Let's talk about it. Let's help educate your workers, if you are a big corporation, and our family and friends.
I give a lot of talks and I've taught workshops about what does work-life balance look like? What does balance look like for you? Because my balance may not be your balance. What I need may not be what you need. You may need to be around 100 people. Me, I could be happy with a book and my coffee and, a quiet, nice, sunny day like today.
Totally get that.
It doesn't mean I don't like people. Please, nobody send me emails. I love people, but lately I've gotten better at the whole sitting, being still, and quiet thing. I'm the world's worst meditator, so the sitting and being quiet thing has been more my thing.
It's hard.
Yeah, I know. It sounds awful. So I know that you also talk about giving blood.
Yes.
And I've seen that you've gone and given blood. Oh dear, I can't talk again.
That's okay.
Given blood, and how does it benefit like hospitals and patients? And I know that you guys have blood drives and everyone has blood drives, but I know there's also a big shortage right now. And I know a lot of that goes to things like heart surgeries.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been an advocate for donating blood for quite some time. My boyfriend and I just went a few weeks ago, and we gave a whole blood donation. And something that people don't always realize when you do make an appointment, because of the pandemic, they are asking everyone to make appointments. The blood that you donate stays right in your community. So that pint of blood that I gave is going to go to somebody in Southern New England. And this sounds morbid, and I hate to say it, but like, you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, like think about sudden accidents that happen, whether it's car accidents, whatnot. You don't know if that could be your family or your friend, or it could be you. What if in a week from now, I need blood? You never know. It's so crazy. And the great thing too is that if you don't necessarily want to give whole blood, maybe you want to give plasma, maybe you want to give platelets, maybe you want to do a double red cell donation. There's so many different things that you can do.
Do you know what the difference is? Do you think maybe you can explain that? Because even I don't know the difference of that right now.
No, absolutely. I'll do my best. I mean, I'm not Kara, who is the director of communications.
You are not a doctor. You are just trying to help us understand, because a lot of people don't understand. I can give you platelets, red and white blood cells, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, platelets is what they call liquid gold. So they hook you up to a machine. Usually it takes between an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you know what? It's kind of nice because it's almost like you have to sit there and relax for a few minutes, which I like.
You have a needle in your arm. Let's relax. I'm sure people that are afraid of needles probably not as relaxing.
No, yeah. And you know what? I completely understand there are people that are afraid of needles, and I am not, I'm not speaking, lightly of that or speaking ill of that. I completely understand. But I personally have had several friends of mine who they didn't have a choice if they wanted to like needles or not, and they needed blood to survive. And that's how I think of that. So for me, donating blood, it was never about the needle. No, it doesn't feel good, but I know that it's so important. And it's something that, I can fill up a pint bag in, my gosh, like 15 minutes. It takes no time at all, but it's a life-saving measure. So kind of back to your previous question, whole blood is just what it sounds like, whole blood. Platelets, it's a part of your blood. So actually what happens is it gets separated in a machine. So your blood will come out of your arm and it goes into the machine. It will separate the platelets, and then it will put the rest back into your body, which they call a return.
Okay.
Now, double red cells, I'm going to do an injustice here and not really be able to explain it that well. I know
That's okay.
I can't give double red cells because I'm not tall enough. There are certain requirements for men and women.
Wait, there's a height requirement to give
Yeah,
them?
there's a height. Yeah, I'm 5'2",
So I'm not
so
tall enough. It's like you can't donate, you can't ride this ride or donate if
yeah,
you're
it's only for double red. And to
interested.
be honest, I'm not 100% sure why that is. If that is just something that somebody decided, okay, like I think to take this much from a body to keep it healthy, they have to be XYZ. I'm not 100% versed in that because I've never been able to do it. And I just know that I can't because I'm not tall enough.
It's a funny thing, but it's not funny. Like it's stuff that people need, but at least if you can make some humor out of it, if you're afraid and you're scared. I can tell you, I hate needles. I've been poked and prodded my entire adult life, and I'm the world's worst stick. So like they're literally trying to get blood out of me, like when I have to go have blood taken.
Oh.
But I spent 7 years having to give myself injections. I can tell you it didn't do anything for my needle phobia, but I still did it. So if you can just, take a breath, don't look, you can go and give blood if you have to.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's not like I look. I'm not like, oh yeah, like please let me watch.
People do. They think it's great. I no.
Go ahead. I just look to the side. They say, okay, you're gonna feel a little pinch, and then super easy, boom, you're done. You just sit there. They have something over it, so it's not like you're staring at the needle or anything. And I've given blood and platelets for quite some time. You can also, I think there was more requirements, but similar to platelets, it separates the blood. You can also give a part of your blood called plasma as well.
Right.
Right now, I know, so I'm in Rhode Island. I know that the Rhode Island chapter is in a critical need. They've actually, for lack of a better term, sounded the alarms for whole blood and platelets. They are at a desperate need. And the problem is that when you share that, you get that rush of people that come, and that is so fantastic. I am not bringing that down at all. We need those, but then it stops. And it's the continuing of the donations that we need. We need people to continue to make those appointments. You know what I mean? 8 weeks later, make your appointment before you leave the blood center. Make an appointment. You can do it right on your phone. It's super easy. And it kind of keeps you accountable. Okay, well, I just gave. Now I know in 8 weeks I can give again. So I know what date that will be. Do it now.
Red Cross that does these a lot, right? The blood drives, the Red Cross does them a lot more than
it depends. So the Rhode Island Blood Center is the group that I tend to work with more often. They are separated from the Red Cross, but the Red Cross also does lots of blood drives. I mean, hey, if you're going to give blood, I'm not going to tell you where to give it. It's still saving lives. So
yeah, I've seen they run a lot of the blood drives around here in Massachusetts. I've seen them do them when I was in school, and they would do them. It was always somebody from the Red Cross or from the local hospital that would come. I
remember that when I lived there. There were a lot of Red Cross and Bay State drives. So for here, most of the drives that we see, and like when I was working for WJAR, we partnered with the Rhode Island Blood Center for our drives. So it might just be, depending on what's more accessible in which area, but.
Okay. I would be remiss to tell you that at least if you donate blood, you do get a cookie after. So that may be incentive for some of you. I know
Yes.
I don't always condone eating cookies, everyone, on a regular basis, but if you do this, you will definitely earn that cookie.
Absolutely.
Not that anybody has to earn their food. I'm just saying you get a treat after.
It is nice. Do you know what I never buy juice. I never have juice. And I really look forward to like those. It's like you're in the cafeteria when you're a kid again, those like little cups of like apple juice. After I give blood, I love that little cup of apple juice. That is my thing. I just love it. It's so good. And I never drink juice. So like, I'm not just going to buy it at the store or anything like that. So that's like kind of like my treat, but I love it.
So I want to talk about one other thing. You said that you had one you talk about heart health, we're talking about food. We talked about mental health, we're talking about physical health. People have to get moving, which is something that everyone really knows about heart health, is that everyone needs to get moving, which everyone in general really does need to get moving. A lot of us haven't been moving as much as we should during the pandemic. That's the truth. But where can people look for resources to maybe give them ideas or groups to join or any support or maybe heart healthy recipes?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question, Ashley. There are so many places to go. I know that the American Heart Association, Southern New England, they have resources right there on our website that you can go, and it's amazing to me how much we have around here that even I didn't even realize, where you can go and get access to healthy food, who is helping the community, what companies are helping the community, make sure that they get that access to the healthy food, or, free exercise classes outside. There were so many of those this summer, and you just have to look for it. I think that that's something that we're like, oh yeah, we know we have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And we just think we're going to walk by on the street. Somebody's just gonna have a big sign that says, XYZ. But, we have the internet, and the world of the internet. It's fantastic. We've talked about on our team, and I know, Ashley, I've talked to you about this, that we're hoping to be able to get more healthy recipe ideas onto our websites to be able to, kind of be a point place for people to go. Like, oh, I want to make a new healthy recipe tonight. Wouldn't it be great if, American Heart Association just had something there for you? But that's just like we talked about before, something that we are working toward because we want to fulfill our mission. We want people to live longer, healthier lives.
And that's true. Now, we want everybody to be healthy. We want people to work on their mental health. And I know this all seems overwhelming for everyone. And I tell people one small step. And let's say you are ordered by a doctor to do something and you have to radically change your life overnight for some health reason or not. I say take small steps. Or if you need to maybe do revamp your meal plan, start with one thing, like breakfast. So that way you feel like you get a handle on breakfast, then you can move to maybe your snacks or lunch or something. So that way you don't feel scared about all of it.
A small step is still a step.
Exactly. And I know that you have some side projects. I worked really hard on my makeup, although our lighting isn't that great today, but I worked really hard on my makeup because Lindsay does some fun things on the side.
Oh, thank you.
Podcast about mental health, and she does these awesome makeup tutorials. So I was really stressed. I was like, I need to make sure my makeup looks super perfect for her.
You're so cute. You look fabulous. You look beautiful. I always say makeup's just fun for me. Like, I get those comments, people like, you don't need all that makeup. I'm like, it's not that trust me, you can ask my boyfriend. I'll leave the house looking like a troll. I don't care, but I love it. It's just fun for me. It's, you know what it is? It's a creative outlet. It's art. I actually find it's artistic to me.
I love that. And so if you guys need makeup tips, go check her out. I love it. I've recently been obsessed with Instagram, watching people do makeup tips. Yours are always cute, and they always make me laugh a little sometimes because you always have something you write or do.
I was gonna say I always have some weird faces too.
I know, when you realize you're taking a photo and you realize you have that face or that video because you didn't cut it off a few seconds before you probably should have.
Literally. Been there, done that a million times.
You want to tell us about your mental health podcast? Because I believe you have one dropping tonight. Am I right?
Yes, I do. I have one dropping tonight at 8:00. It is with my best friend Lupe, and we really talk a lot this week about mental health. And for those of you who might be hesitant to start therapy, this episode is for you. So I'm currently a grad student, going to become a mental health counselor. So it's really interesting. We talk about it from the side of what I'm learning in school from a clinician side, and also from the client side, what they want, and also what you might expect therapy to be like and what it's actually like.
I will fully admit that on and off throughout the years, I have gone to therapy for different reasons. And I can say that One, you need to find a therapist you like.
We talked about that.
I tried one before that didn't go well. Like, it was bad.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
It is an equal relationship. We talk about that on the podcast. It's just like finding a life partner.
Yeah, I still haven't found one of those, but I found a good therapist. So at least I have one or the other, maybe. I don't know.
Perfect.
So yes, Write This Down, I believe is the name of the new podcast,
yep.
right?
Write This Down, and it's Write This Down Live on Instagram and Facebook, and then you can like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube too.
And I know that Lindsay has all kinds of fun stuff on her page, so please follow her and check that out. We will stay tuned for more things about the Heart Ball, and if you want to maybe come back and tell us when it gets closer.
I would love to, absolutely.
And if you need more heart healthy recipes, you know who to come to, of course.
Absolutely. You're always first person that pops into my mind.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know you said you have a meeting to get to.
So I do. I actually have a board meeting that I have to go to right now for the Heart Association. So
and all the lovely new board members you've met.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to keep you much longer and keep you from all those lovely people, but happy World Heart Day. And thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It's always a pleasure to work with you. And I'm sure that I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, I will. Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
Bye. Well, didn't we have fun with Lindsay? And we learned a lot about heart health. In a few minutes, I will come back and we're going to talk some heart healthy foods and some heart healthy recipes. And we're going to have some fun in the kitchen. 1 second, please. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Food for Life. This is one of my favorite parts is I get to cook now and show you guys all kinds of amazing things. So we just talked with Lindsay Iadeluca of the American Heart Association of Southern New England, and we got to talk about that it's let's try that again. It is World Heart Day, which means we're raising awareness for heart-related illnesses and problems that people may have. We talked about how the blood pressure is a real problem these days, stroke risk, cholesterol. We all need to get moving and we need to be eating better. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about some fun, heart-healthy things. Now, I know to you, a bowl of leafy greens may not be what you want, but for me, I think these are wonderful things. Think about what they can do for you. I know vegetables aren't for everybody, but they can do wonderful things for your insides. These are going to go in our wonderful fall tomato soup. Leafy greens have vitamin K and nitrates. They help improve your arterial function. They also help with, the more you eat them, the lower your risk for heart disease. There's also whole grains, which I don't know about you, but like I put oats in everything. I hide them in my baked goods. I can't do oatmeal because like a whole bowl of oatmeal, not really for me, but I hide them in everything. Like I have a pumpkin bread I made this year and I put oats in it. I have cookies that I make, I put oats in it. And you want whole grains. You want things like whole wheat, oats, barley, quinoa. And you want to make sure you don't get the over processed oats because those aren't good for you. You want the ones that have all the parts of the oat, because if you get the ones that have already been cut too much and over processed, they take away all the good parts of the oats. So studies have shown that eating whole grains are associated with lower cholesterol. You know how you've seen on cereal boxes the nice little heart check thing? Well, there is a certification system from the Heart Association, and you can go into the grocery store and you can see the little heart health check mark, and you can find some more information on the Heart Association website, and you can go in there. But it helps you if you're going through a time where you have to adjust your diet, so that way you don't feel overwhelmed when you're looking for things like cereal or breads or anything else. I thought it was actually pretty cool that there's so many products, when I looked at the list, that are approved by the Heart Association. So just look on that famous box of yellow cereal that everyone buys, or that your grandparents bought. It has a nice little heart check. So look for that same symbol on a lot of things in the grocery store. Now let's talk about something else. This lovely person here has an avocado. We're going to talk about our avocado in our weekly kitchen hack, because I just found the best way to store avocados, because no matter what I did, I just couldn't seem to keep my avocado for longer than like half a day. So I want to show you guys that in a little bit. So avocados are high in monosaturated fats and potassium. Just like a banana, they're high in potassium, which is super good for you. Potassium lowers your blood pressure. It helps with your heart function. It helps you risk of metabolic syndrome, which is a cluster. Let me see if I can get this right. It is a cluster of a bunch of different functions, and it is a cluster of different like symptoms that turn into one problem. Don't quiz me on that. That did not come out right. So my other favorite thing is dark chocolate. So my friends know that in the door of my refrigerator, I keep a little stash of dark chocolate, because pretty much every night I will break off a chunk of dark chocolate and eat it as like my dessert. It's wonderful. You want to make sure that when you're buying dark chocolate, that you get a high percentage of cacao. Anything under 60 to 65%, you're not getting the health benefits of it. So dark chocolate is kind of one of the more fun things. If you've ever tried making avocado pudding, it's wonderful. It has antioxidants, it has flavonoids. It will lower your risk of developing calcification and plaque in your arteries, and it can help with coronary heart disease. These are all things that people are concerned about. These are all things that can happen to all of us as we get older, whether it's your genetics or whether it's something to do with your diet. But we all need to be aware of what we eat and how we eat stuff. My other favorite thing is tomatoes, which I have some lovely tomatoes here that I bought from the farm that I roasted up, that are going to be turned into our tomato soup. They're so yummy. This time of year, tomato soup is probably one of my favorite things in the whole world. So tomatoes are rich in lycopene. They've been associated with lower risk of heart disease. They increase the good HDL, which is the good cholesterol. That's all the stuff that we want to do. So almonds, which are pretty much a daily snack for me. I eat these constantly. I love them so much. I keep unsalted, not roasted. They're unsalted. They're just in their raw form. I get these, I get cashews, and I have walnuts, which are also good for your heart, walnuts. And they're high in fiber, monosaturated fats, and help with the reduction of cholesterol and with belly fat. So if you're someone that's had heart problems or at risk of stroke, and your doctor tells you need to lose a little bit of weight, incorporate some almonds into your diet. They taste great, and they're good for helping with that belly fat. And one, I don't know, any good Italian girl has this in her pantry. It's olive oil. It's full of antioxidants and monounsaturated fats. It's been associated with lower blood pressure and heart disease risk. Plus, it just tastes good. Now, my thing about olive oil is make sure you're getting a good quality one and make sure it doesn't say blended on there, because a lot of olive oils are blended with some other oils and it's not pure, and you want the extra virgin oil. So let's make sure we get that. So now that we've gone through all our heart healthy things, let's get cooking in the kitchen. So I'm going to show you some of my kitchen hacks for today, because let's face it, kitchen hacks are stuff that we all need. So I have my lovely acorn or butternut squash. I forgot what I bought already. Now, these things are a bear to cut. Am I right? Does anyone else think that too? I know that's why people always go for the pre-packaged one. I don't think we need those. We don't need to go for the pre-packaged. We don't need to do that. We just need to learn some tricks. You can cut off the top and the bottom and poke some holes in it and start it in the microwave for about 30 to 40 seconds, intervals to make sure. And over like a 5 to 10 minute period, it'll start to soften and it'll get a little softer to cut. Or my favorite part is you cut off the bottom part, just on the base of the neck, and you leave the bulb, and it's easier to cut, and then it'll be easier to trim. If you can see where I made the cut here. Can we see that in the camera? There we go. See where I made it? That's like the line in the sand, basically. And then you can wrap the other half for another day. And it's much easier to peel because then it also gives you a flat base to like peel down the sides, which is so much better. All right. I'm going to use some of the butternut squash in a salad I'm going to make tonight. We're going to get leafy greens in our soup. We're going to get leafy greens in a dinner salad. So let's get cooking. I have some really yummy recipes to share with you, so let's get on it. All right, right after this. Okay, so we're back. I have started in my pot here some olive oil, and it is about on a medium to medium low heat. I have a gas stove, so if any of you have an electric stove, it would be maybe around 5-ish on the burner. So I'm going to heat up that, and I have what they call passata, which is strained tomatoes. And it's like a super thick thing of tomatoes, and it gets all the water out of it, makes for a super yummy soup. So I'm going to add that in. Make sure you always add stuff away from you so that you're not splattering yourself or splattering out hot oil. And then we're going to add in our tomatoes. So these are just roasted, these tomatoes here, with the Roma tomatoes that I cut in half. I roasted with some salt and pepper and olive oil and a little bit of thyme. We're going to eventually puree everything, but we're going to add them in. You can see the browning on that. It's just ridiculous. Oh, so good. Gives it that smoky fire roasted thing. And the reason I do tin foil on this is because it catches all the juices, and you want that in your soup. You don't want to waste any bit of anything. So we're going to mix that all together and let that start to simmer. Now, for my spice mixture, this is probably my favorite thing in the world. Ah, here it is. I like spicy. Spicy is good for the metabolism. It's good to help with your blood pressure, believe it or not. Spice is actually good for you. And I have some dry basil and a little bit of cayenne. And we're always going to do a pinch of sea salt. Now, the one thing about your heart is you want to watch how much salt intake you have. So if you buy anything that's packaged, like packaged beans and things, you want to make sure that the sodium is under 240. So we're going to sprinkle that in. And I always have some cracked black pepper. And and a pinch of sea salt. Now I have, or you can do Himalayan pink salt, depending on what you like. I just have some sea salt here that's ground up that I like. Let's sprinkle in some. Now tomatoes do need some salt because you can't completely unsalt tomatoes because they just taste not great. Make sure when you're buying anything canned, like tomatoes or beans and things, there's actually options that have no salt or low sodium already. So just compare brands to see which one's better for you. So I'm just going to give it a stir so that we can start getting everything to cook down. Alrighty. Perfect. There we go. All right. So on to our lovely salad. And then once I start the salad stuff, I'll show you our kitchen hack of the week at the end of the show. So I have some butternut squash, as I showed you how to cut it. Just easy roasted at 400 on a baking sheet with some parchment. You can season it however you like. I do them in about 1-inch cubes because I find that a lot easier. It takes anywhere from, depending on how ripe it is, it'll take anywhere from like 35 to 40 minutes. And we have that, and we have some nice pepitas or pumpkin seeds. These are full of magnesium, which, by the way, if you're low in magnesium, that can cause heart palpitations as well. It's also, so they're full of magnesium. They're a great crunch in a salad, great alternative to a like a crouton. And I'm going to put in some almonds. Now, when I have almonds whole like this, I like to chop them up. And now I put a few on the board and I chop them up. But the thing about that is you don't want to go chasing them around the board. So you're going to roughly chop them. If you can see that down there, can we see? Just like that. Perfect. You don't need them to be in big pieces. You just need them to be, manageable. Because when you're in a salad, nobody wants you to have like a whole almond. I'm going to eat that one. I'm hungry. It's getting to be dinner time here. So I'm going to show you one of the best ways to save on salt is to make your own salad dressing. That's what the olive oil is for. With salad dressing, you want a 1 to 2 part ratio of olive oil to vinegar. So I'm going to make a balsamic maple vinegar. I have a little bit of grade A maple syrup, which is a natural sugar. I'm going to pour that in here. And that's good. I also have a little bit of really high quality balsamic vinegar. So it's 2 parts of the olive oil to 1 part vinegar. I do a little bit more vinegar because I'm more of a vinegary type, but that is up to you. Some people like more olive oil than they do vinegar. And the trick to the whole thing is Dijon mustard. I know, right? It seems so weird. But what's going to happen is the Dijon mustard is going to emulsify the dressing. I make these a lot. I put in the measuring cup so you could see a little bit better. What I do is I put all the stuff in a container in a mason jar, and I put a pinch of pepper and a pinch of sea salt. And I just literally, as you can see, I wanted you guys to be able to see the differentiate stuff. Sometimes the glass jars and the mason jars is harder to see on camera. And you literally whisk it together until it ends up coming together so simply. I'm not going to keep doing that because it's going to make a lot of noise and I don't want to make too much noise while we're on camera. Now, as promised, after these messages, we will have our hack of All right, and we're back. I promised I would show you the hack for the avocado, and it starts by having water. So I have one of my little like Pyrex type dishes or whatever you guys have, and I have it filled about halfway with water. And this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was reading about this in one of my food blog things that I see. You cut it in half, and the side that you don't take the pit out of, you literally face it down in there and then just put the lid on. It worked wonders. So this side that I'm not going to use, as we can see, nice, perfect green. I've been getting a lot of horrible avocados lately, so I'm so happy this one looks nice. It goes face down in the water like this. Perfect. No lemons needed, no anything. Just pat it dry a little bit before you use it, and you're all set. That's amazing. My other hack, I have more than one this week between butternut squash and the avocado, but the avocado was the trick that totally amazed me. I got super excited over it. It's apples. Now, last week we talked about how bananas and freezing everything. We're also going to talk about apples. I remember as a kid growing up, my grandmother is the queen of the freezer. She has so much stuff in there. I swear it's like this endless thing. But I remember in the fall when I was little and we were making apple pie, she literally would wash and peel them and cut them up and put them in freezer bags. And she would portion out enough for a pie. So any of you that are buying the big things of apples from the farmer's market, peel them, cut them, put them in a little bit of lemon juice, or if you cook them down a little bit beforehand, because that's what you do before you put them in a pie, put them in, stick them in a thing, freeze them, and when, unfreeze them a little bit, defrost them before you make your pie and make sure you drain them before you put them in your pie crust, you're already ahead of the game before Thanksgiving. That is pretty much one of my favorite tips. And it came from my grandmother. No modern fangled TikTok hack. So, as promised, I am going to put together our salad. We have a plate of some baby kale and spinach, our dark leafy greens, which we learned have vitamin K and that they're great for us. So, we have this. We have our chopped nuts that are going to go over top. Does anyone else love the presentation part of the salad? Because this is the part that excites me the most. So I have some chopped. I have my butternut squash that I roasted. Now the thing about the salad is you can make it a little. You can also warm it up a little before you put the dressing on. So that way it's maybe a warm salad, or you can add a grain into it, maybe rice or quinoa, barley if you'd like. I like barley in soup, but that's up to you. And now we have our pumpkin seeds or pepitas, whichever you prefer to call them. I'm not in your kitchen. I don't judge. And then once the dressing comes together, we will dress it. Now, the salad's great as a side dish, but it's also good as a main as well. So you can put in maybe a nice piece of salmon or a low-fat breasted chicken. So it also keeps really well in a lunchbox. Now, I want to show you before I go today our soup. So as you can see, it's cooking away with our spices and it's steaming. I'm going to add in my favorite broth. You can use chicken. You can use vegetable. I use vegetable because I'm actually a vegetarian. I know, I admitted that on camera. I know everyone always has something to say about that. So once it cooks down, I'm going to puree it with an immersion blender, or you can put it in the food processor. Now make sure when you put it in a food processor that you let it cool down a little bit, and you make sure to put a dish towel over the top, because hot liquids tend to expand when you put them into a food processor or a blender. So please be extra careful. Otherwise, you're going to paint your kitchen ceiling red. And once that's done, we're going to add in our greens right at the end. And the reason you do that is because you don't want them to cook down to nothing. You want them to still retain a lot of their nutrients. And before you serve anything, you can I put a scoop of brown rice in the bottom of my bowl, and then I just put the soup over top. Or you could do barley, like we talked about, or quinoa, whatever your favorite grain is. I'm not judging. But I like to, before I serve anything, and I check it for seasoning. That is the most important part. Before you serve the dressing on the salad, before you serve the soup, take a little taste. That is the best thing I can give you as a chef. Is so many people do not taste their food, and it turns out not so good. And then the next thing you know, your people are, politely reaching for the salt and pepper shaker. So try to taste things before you eat them. We're going to remember our kitchen hacks for this week. Our lovely avocado trick that I'm so excited about. Our butternut squash, where we cut it, see? Nice line. And the apple trick I told you about, cutting and slicing so you're ready for pies. Now, I want to thank everyone for being here. Make sure you follow us on E360 TV, or you can follow me at BellaFoodie7 on Instagram and on Facebook. And thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'd love to see what you guys are cooking. So please tag us and share. Until next week. Bye.